gentlemen, once again it is I, 2Athamar7, about to begin yet another video in my replay of A Sky Full of Stars. I really am liking this game and enjoying playing it yet again. It's every bit as good as I remember it being, and informative. We are here just past the main common route phenomenon, so to speak, where they had created a Dobsonian telescope, but this time on the path that is central to either Orihime or Korona. And we have a little bit more to play here before we get to the point in the game where we actually choose between Orihime and Korona. I don't know if it's going to be as long as the path was following the Dobsonian telescope for Hickory and for Saya, but I'm hoping it was. If not, this will be a very short video. Anyway, we better get started. It was a few days after the stargazing event. In that time, the Six Stars Club had held a farewell party for Hickory, who was moving to Southeast Asia. A few days into the new year, Hickory would begin a new life across the seas. It was a big step for her, but I was also beginning a new life on my own.
荷物はこれで全部か?
During winter break, the club room looked even emptier than usual. In the middle of it, we were preparing for my upcoming move. Yep, we're okay.
忘れ物があっても取りに来ればいいか.
That's right.
にしても
Takeichi looked down at my belongings.
ほんとこんだけしかないんだな、お前の荷物.
It would only take the two of us one trip to carry everything. Takeichi was stunned that I really only had this much stuff. It was just a temporary thing anyway. I said that, but what I had here was my entire life. I went to see my relatives once in a while, but my daily existence had revolved around this club room and the stopping by where I worked. Thanks to the 9 months since I started school at Hoshino Daichi, I bowed, not to anyone in particular, but to the room. I was so grateful that I had been able to use the room as club president, even though I didn't look at the stars. When we got off the bus, Korona came flying out of the store. Korona, what are you doing here today?
邪魔になるだけだって言ったんだけどな。っていうか、おめえ諦めるって言ってただろ。なんで勝手に来てんだよ。
だってお兄ちゃんなんかにアキミを任せとけないし。コロナが手伝ったら嬉しいよね、アキミ。
邪魔だったら追い返してもいいんだぞ。
お兄ちゃんこそもう帰っていいよ。あとはコロナが手伝うから。
うるせえ。
If I didn't step in, this was going to turn into a full-blown sibling fight. Why don't you both help?
もちろん。
たく、しょうがないな。
Once again, thank you for letting me stay here.
こっちこそよろしく頼むよ。
From that day on, I would be living in this small tatami room. I had finally found a place to stay on the second floor of the stop and buy.
必要なものがあったら遠慮なく言うんだよ。
Arigatou gozaimasu.
それじゃ私は店に戻るからね。
In addition to being my employer, she was now also my landlord. I knew the store manager from way back, so my mind was at ease. Not only was the rent low, it also came with meals, and it was close to both work and the train station. My only concern was that if I wasn't careful, I'd find myself engaged to Miss Miharu.
なかなか様になったじゃねえか。
うんうん、これでアキ兄も立派に一人暮らしできるね。
This used to be a storeroom, so they let me use whatever furniture was already in here. The futon was too old, so the store manager gave me a new one. And instead of a heater, I had a kotatsu. That was enough for me. It's all thanks to you two. It wasn't much, but I held out 2 bottles of tea. I conveniently ignored the fact that the store manager had given them to me.
そういや光たちは来ねえんだな。
Takeichi asked as if he just remembered.
そうそう、ピカリンどうして来ないんだろう。白状だよね。
Actually, I had counted on Hickory and Saya too, not just Takeichi. But things didn't work out the way I'd planned. Hickory's preparing for her move as well. I showed them my phone.
引っ越し準備 NOW。
A photo of Hickory cleaning up her room was attached to that message.
ちょっと休憩中。そっちはどう？頑張ってる？
Saya was helping Hickory pack, going by the picture she sent.
あっちはいいもの飲んでるみたいだな。
They were holding stylish teacups and some expensive-looking pastries. It made the difference in our positions very clear. I'm sorry that you only get plastic bottles of tea here. I didn't even have any snacks to offer. I wondered if I should get some from the store below.
いや別にいいんだけどよ。
よくないよ全然。こっちもやり返そう。ほら、もっとリア充っぽい感じで。
Even if I wanted to fight back, my chances of winning are 0. In the first place, I didn't have the resources. Any attempt would just end painfully.
つまんないの。
わがまま言うんじゃねえと言いたいところだが、確かにこれじゃ面白くない。コロナに乗るのは尺だけど、俺たちもあいつらに見せつけてやろうぜ。
Some strange switch had been flipped in Takeichi. These normally bickering siblings were on the same nefarious page for once.
おいコロナ、先生んとこ行って適当に借りてこい。
I almost saw a sound effect bubble appear behind Korona as she danced out.
さてと、こっちはこっちで準備するとしようか。
What's your plan, Take?
まあまあ、俺に任せとけって、いい感じにしてやっからよ。
I caught a glimpse of the mischievous kid Take used to be. It was going to be an incredible first day of my new life.
Gorgeous!
Bizarrely, the Kusakabe siblings had set up a wine bottle and some glasses. The seal had been cut even though no one drank. It gave the impression that we were all drinking. What are they doing?
ほら、秋に写真撮るよ。並んで並んで。
Phone in hand, Korona made me stand next to Takeichi. That phone, you finally got it?
クリスマスに買ってもらったの。秋兄には今日が初お披露目だね。
Korona showed off her shiny new phone.
カメラの性能もすごいらしいよ。お兄ちゃんの顔だってイケメンに映るかも。
てめえ、一言余計なんだっての。
Korona's excitement about her new phone was so simple and easy to read. Even Takeichi was at a loss.
たく、これだからガキは。
コロナガキじゃないもん。お兄ちゃんと1個しか違わないじゃん。
そういうとこがガキなんだよ。
That throwaway line wasn't even worth Takeichi's breath.
よし、じゃあ撮るよ。はい、チーズ。
After the photo shoot, Korona started working on her phone right away. She was writing up the post for the photos. It seemed like she was already pretty good at this stuff.
その前に秋兄とアドレス交換しなきゃ。
I took out my phone and put it next to Korona's. It made a sound to let us know the addresses had been exchanged.
どうぞ、末永くよろしくお願いします。
Arigato, Korona.
何が末永くだよ。結婚じゃあるまいに。
Korona looked particularly happy.
それじゃあ送るね。
And so I received my first text message from Korona.
わっはっは。 我々の宴を見よ
The image was impossibly surreal. The three of us were standing close and smiling, each holding a glass of red wine. It was beyond incomprehensible.
なんだよアキト、こっちにも送ってくれよ。
I forwarded the message to Takeichi.
なんだこりゃ、こたつってのがあれだな。
A tatami room with a katutsu. No matter how many wine glasses we had, that setting was all wrong.
いいからそれをピカリンに送って。
Hikari would probably get a kick out of this. I pushed send, and we waited for a reply.
ねえねえ、返事は？
そんなすぐ来るわけねえだろ。
ピカリンなら光の速さで返事してよ。
Well, let's wait a bit longer. We would just have to wait, though it seemed the message had been read. After waiting a few more minutes...
ピカリン、遅い！
Yeah, this is definitely slow for her.
アホ臭すぎてスルーしたんじゃねえのか。
That was a possibility, so I sent it to Saya too, just in case. But even though she read the message, there was no response there as well.
こうなったら新しいの取って送ろう。ピカリンが無視できないくらいすごいの。
It's gonna be hard to outdo that other one.
じゃあ、アキ兄とお兄ちゃんがチューしてるとことか。
そんなんできるか、このアホコロナ。
もう、フリだよ、フリ。
フリーでもごめんだ。やるならてめえがやれ。
コロナが？
Blushing, Korona turned to look at me.
コロナ、キスしたことないんだよ。
But her eyes were locked on my lips.
でも、女の子なら一度は通る道だもんね。
何覚悟決めてんだこのマセガキが。
Takeichi hit Korona with a chop that would have put Hikari to shame.
ピカリンのやつより痛い。
足りねえだ。痛くしてやったんだからな。
Takeichi was merciless toward his sister. He must have really given it to her. Then all of a sudden, it's here. The reply waited so long for.
見せて見せて。
Korona tried to stick her head between me and my phone.
さて、ピカリンの反応はと。
美少女が編み物をするの図。
So she was replying with yet another photo? Seated on the sofa, Saya was knitting elegantly.
相変わらずあざとい。
ちょっと待て。よく見ろ。
The knitting needles are cooking chopsticks. He was right, those were cooking chopsticks. On further inspection, there were other strange things about the photo. Oh, here's another one. Like a second salvo, I received yet another photo message.
求むペットの黒ヒョウを飼ってくれる人。
The photo came from Saya, and it was of Hikari with what looked like a cat on her knees.
黒ヒョウってただのブサイクな猫じゃん。
And a soft toy at that. It looked really worn out, like an old body pillow. The cat's unnecessarily long torso was also added to its pathetic state.
黒ヒョウってアホすぎる。
Takeichi found this really funny. He was holding his stomach from laughing.
黒ヒョウじゃなくて猫なのに。
Korona being Korona couldn't get over that minor detail. By the way, I wonder if they're really looking for a new home for that toy.
アキ兄欲しいの？
No, I don't want anything to do with it. We ran out of responses, so we let the text conversation die.
で、最終的にどっちが勝ちなのかな？こっち？それともあっち？
さあな。そんなんどっちでもいいだろ
Takeichi's tone suggested he'd have enough of fooling around.
じゃあ、コロナたちの勝ちってことで、ビクトリー！ほら、アキ兄もお兄ちゃんもやって。さん、はい！
Victory! At Korona's insistence, I went along with it. But Takeichi, who was supposed to do it too, gave me a cold stare.
う。なーにコロナに付き合ってんだよ。
あ 兄ちゃんこそノリ悪いんだから。それに引き換えやっぱしアキ兄は優しいよね。
こういうのは優しいってんじゃねえ。付き合いがいいだけのお人よしって言うんだ。
そうかもだけど、でもそんなアキ兄のことコロナはかっこいいって思ってるよ。
The moving in process had been delayed, but somehow we managed to get it done. Left alone, the Kusakabe siblings would probably have stayed all day, but Takeichi was kind enough to initiate their exit. As soon as we stepped out of the store, Kotaru started barking at Korona. He was wagging his tail vigorously, so we knew he just wanted to be petted.
やめて、吠えないでよ。
There, calm down, boy. I rushed between them and started petting Kotaru.
怖かった。
何泣きそうになってんだお前は。
泣いてないもん。
泣いたとは言ってねえだろうが。
Korona clung to Takeichi's arm out of sheer terror. Takeichi, who was usually mean to his sister, didn't push her away for once. Sorry that Kotaru scared you.
アキ兄は悪くないよ。悪いのはこの猛獣が。
Korona hid herself completely behind Takeichi. You've always had dogs barking at you, huh?
犬にしか見えない霊にでも疲れてるんじゃねえの。
Of course, that explains it.
やめてよ。そういうこと言ってコロナを怖がらせるの。
My bad. But it's strange, you know, because Kotaru rarely barks at people.
犬怖い。
She looked totally traumatized.
だからお前は来んなって言ったんだよ。
犬が怖いから来れないなんて嫌だし。
It's okay, Kotaru isn't scary at all. You want to try petting him?
噛まない？
ガブガブ噛むぞ。
Taki, don't make fun of her.
悪い悪い。
Takeichi laughed, but his eyes were serious. Hey, Kotaru, look, it's Korona. I held Kotaru's head steady so he wouldn't suddenly rush at Korona. Gingerly, Korona reached out with her small hand.
怖くない怖くない怖くない。
ワン。
Korona took off at top speed.
超面白い。
Taki, that's too much.
いいんだよ。あいつで遊んでいいのは俺だけなんだから。
Maybe that was his way of showing affection. But it wasn't fun at all for Korona. Seeing that Kotaru was back in his kennel, Korona returned.
お兄ちゃんなんで死ねばいいのに。
There was a rare edge in Korona's voice. She seemed really upset at Takeichi.
犬は怖いけど、いずれ克服しないとダメだよね。
Don't force yourself to.
だってアキ兄の部屋にはまた来たいから。
I couldn't say anything to that. Thanks for coming to help today, Take.
貸し1だからな。
At times like this, Takeichi never compromised. I liked his stance of making sure favors were properly acknowledged.
コロナも貸し1。
True, I'll be sure to return the favor.
おお、ちゃんと返してくれるとは。
あんまこいつは甘やかさない方がいいぜ。すぐ調子に乗るからな。
そんなことないよーだ。
バスも来たし、そろそろ帰るわ。今日は妹が騒がしくして悪かったな。
As Takeichi spoke, I saw the bus pull in.
おい、帰るぞコロナ。
Takeichi dragged Korona away by the collar.
無理やり帰らせないでよ。
アキトの迷惑になんだろうが、いい加減悟れ。
でも。
Bye, Korona. Come again sometime.
絶対行くから。絶対だよ。
With the two of them on board, the bus headed for the city streets, its taillights leaving arcs in the darkness. Sorry, I'm late. Starting my shift now. I put on my apron and went behind the counter.
遅いよ。ずっと労働させられてたんだから。
I think working a bit more will do you some good, actually.
うちの同居人くんが意地悪を言う。
Come to think of it, Miss Maharu and I were housemates now. I found that quite moving somehow.
ん？どうしたのかな？私の魅力にドキドキしちゃった？
No, that's not it. As a former hot teacher, maybe, but in her current lifestyle.
わかってるわよ、もう。冗談に決まってるじゃない。それより新しい部屋はどう？うまくやっていけそう？
Of course, it's a paradise compared to the astronomy club room. That was a room for club activities after all, not for someone to live in. I felt some attachment to it, of course, but my new room was so much more comfortable. It had tatami mats and a futon. That alone made it feel like somewhere I could live.
それならよかった。あんたのことはずっと心配してたからね。
Miss Miharu?
うちの母さんも結構気にしてたみたい。そういうわけだから、あんたが元気にやってくれるのが一番なの。だから遠慮せずに頼りなさい。困った時には黙ってないで言うこと。いいわね。
Yes, I'll ask for help. I was reminded of the teacher she once was. Then the moment passed.
さーて、そんじゃあとは店番よろしくね。
The feeling of nostalgia and admiration also vanished in that instant. Miss Miharu took off her apron and all but abandoned the counter to me. With a sigh, I put her out of my mind and focused on the present. Just as I got into work mode, I received a message notification on my phone.
やっほー、あきに元気？今日はありがとうございました。すっごく楽しかったです。
I was the one who should be thanking her for helping me move in. I wanted to reply, of course, but there were some customers approaching the register. Working right now, I'll text you later. I sent Korona that reply for now. She would just have to wait. But then the messages kept on coming.
バイト中なんだ。頑張って。返事は後でいいよ。アキ兄の部屋、いい感じだったよ。また絶対遊びに行くからね。
Korona had just got her phone, but messages came without any pauses in between.
次は意地悪なお兄ちゃん抜きで遊ぼう。犬は怖いけど頑張る。そうだ、この前一緒に星見たのすごく楽しかった。あんな綺麗なもの見たのコロナ初めてかも。またアキ兄と星見たいな。これからはコロナもみんなの仲間だからね。絶対だからね。
It was as if her feelings were rising up too quickly to put into words. The short text gave some sense of the outpouring of things she wanted to say. When I used to look up at the stars, that was how I felt, so I understood. I understood the agony, the inability to remain still. And no one could stop it, the feeling that threatened to rush out of you at any moment. It was New Year's Eve. A lot happened over the year, but now that New Year's Eve had come to end it, most people were busy deciding how they wanted to spend their New Year's Eve. But I didn't have to decide anything, because I have to work. It was the last day of the year, but I was standing at the register with an apron on.
悪いね、ソラミくん。大晦日なのにバイトに入ってもらって。
It's okay, I was free anyway.
もう少ししたらうちの娘に代わらせるからね。そしたら年越しそばをおあがんなさい。茹でてあげるから。
Arigatou gozaimasu. I was planning on eating something expired from the store, but she was making food for me. The manager had done so much for me since I started staying with her. It seemed she not only make my year-end soba, but special New Year's Day food as well. So this is what that soba looks like. I muttered under my breath. My new life was so therapeutic that I couldn't help but say it. I had never felt this comfortable living at my auntie's or even at my late grandfather's.
はあ、 うちの娘がああじゃなけりゃぜひうちの婿にって言えるんだけどね。ごめんね、あんなぐうたら女で。
It would be a little rude to directly agree with her on this, so I just tried to laugh it off. But she does do some pretty bold things. It was starting to get awkward, so I changed the subject.
ああ、深夜営業のことかい？
Even the stop and buy convenience store, known to be open late, usually turned off its bright lights by 10 p.m. But today those lights stayed on even past 10 p.m.
あっちこっちから言われてね。年越しの時だけでいいから深夜営業しとくれって。
There are a lot of customers out for their first visit to the shrines. There was a large temple and a shrine in the mountains, so many people had moved to the shrine after hearing the New Year's Eve bell at the temple.
深夜もバスと電車が動くって話だしね。うちだけが閉まってるってわけにもいかないだろ。何より明かりがあると安心するからね。真っ暗だと危ないし。
It would feel unsafe if no one was open late at night. The stop and buy helped all the people in the neighborhood. That's why she chose to stay open late over New Year's.
代わりと言っちゃなんだけど、三が日はお休みにするから、空見くんものんびりするといいよ。
Got it. The special hours were until early on New Year's Day. After that, stop and buy convenience store would go back to its normal easy schedule.
あんたが来てくれてほんと助かったよ。私と父ちゃんだけじゃ深夜営業なんて無理だったからね。
You're not counting your daughter?
それを私の口から言わせないでおくれよ。
The manager said that and let out a deep sigh. I wondered if Miss Mihara would spend the next year unemployed again.
どうしたんだい？
I've got a text on my phone. Is it okay if I check it?
いいよ。
We were talking, but she allowed it no problem. I did my best to check my phone quickly.
これからジョヤの鐘つきに行くけど一緒にどうよ。
He had invited me.
っていうかもうそこまで来てる。
What?
おーす、準備はできてるか？
Of course I'm not ready. Takeichi was strangely excited.
あら、たけくん、いらっしゃい。
おばちゃん、アキトを借りていいっすか？
Knock that off. The stop and buy convenience store is busy.
今はまだそうでもないから平気だよ。せっかくだから、たけくんと行ってきたらどうだい？
さすがおばちゃん、話がわかる。
Are you sure?
いいよ。帰ってきたらまた手伝っておくれ。
Arigato. I won't argue with you.
よし、じゃあ行くか。
We would take a bus part way to the temple and walk the rest of the way.
お、来た来た。
Normally, the buses would already have stopped running, but the special service for New Year's made it easy. The bus was crowded despite the hour. I let the turns rock me for a while, then the time seemed right to talk to Takeichi. So what happened? It was just like Takeichi to invite you suddenly, but he was too excited at the store.
悪いな、バイト中に無理言って。
Takeichi wasn't answering my question. He looked like he didn't know where to start. So is this about Naru?
で、なんでわかんだよ。
Well, I'm pretty sure she's the only thing you're worried about now. He was dim, but he was earnest. He wouldn't give up on Naru, even though she had rejected him.
今日さ、あの子を誘ったんだ。2年参りに行かないかって。
Did she answer?
まあな、無視するような子じゃねえし。で、はっきりとお断りされたわけだ。でもよ、ただ断られるんなら俺もよかったんだ。別口で行くんだとよ。やっぱできてるんじゃねえか。
Could it be an Earth Science Club member from Nishi High? Well, cheer up, Take.
んなもん出せるかよ。くそ。
He was my best friend. I could listen to him gripe for a while. I had to heal Takeichi's broken heart. I felt like I was looking down on him a little. But as soon as we got to the temple,
おい、あれってナルエちゃんじゃね？
I looked where he was pointing and it was definitely Naru.
相手の男は。って、あの時の野郎じゃねえし。
The person next to Naru wasn't a guy, it was a girl, no matter how you looked.
Yes! ヒュッフーなんだよ水臭いな。デートじゃないなら最初からそう言ってくれっての。悪いなアキト、あとはよろしく頼むぜ。
And just like that, Takeichi was back to his old self and ran over to Naru. I finished my shrine visit and started home feeling gloomy. The year had already changed, so it didn't feel right to eat the year-end soba anymore. I was filled with loneliness so early in the year. That's how I knew I would feel, at least.
あら、空見くんじゃない？
Orihime? Fate had brought me this angel. Seeing her on the bus at this hour, she must have been going home from the shrine like I was.
こんばんは、空見くん。奇遇ですね。違うわよ、吉岡。今日にふさわしい特別な挨拶があるでしょ。というわけで、明けましておめでとうございます。新年明けましておめでとうございます。今年も星を愛する同志としてよろしく頼むわね。
Arigato, you too. As it turned out, the first people I met in the new year were these two from my Ku Astronomy Club. So you're not wearing a kimono, Orihime? I always thought she was the type to wear one. She was a refined young lady, so the holiday dress would suit her.
吉岡も一緒だから遠慮したのよ。こういう時は動きやすい方がいいでしょ。別に遠慮しなくても結構でしたのに。
Hanuka looked a little disappointed that she couldn't see her senior, who she respected in kimono too. I got off the bus at Mikuzaki Station, and for some reason they got off as well.
本当にこの時間も営業しているのね。
Orihime was surprised to see Stop and Buy open. Are you sure you want to get off? If you stay on, it goes to Hoshino Station.
いいのよ。どうせ星野駅まで行っても、その後お父様に迎えに来てもらうことになるのですから。
Then he should have just gone all the way to the shrine, I thought to myself.
山の方は初詣客で渋滞していますからね。
Hanuka seemed to read my question and answered me.
ここに来てもらうのも、星野駅に来てもらうのも大きな違いはありませんから。それならお父様を待つ間にあなたとお話しするのも悪くないと思ったのよ。
If that's the case, then of course. A development like this so early in the year was a good sign. Talking outside wouldn't do, though, so we warmed up inside the store.
おかえり空見くん。タケくんは一緒じゃないのかい？
The manager looked surprised that my companions had changed from Takeichi to two pretty girls. Well, a lot happened. Can we sit in the eating area?
いいよ、そのくらい。先客がいるけど気にしなくていいよ。
Someone? I looked at the eating area and... Just at that moment, Korona was biting into a pork bun. You don't have to swallow so fast.
君、明けましておめでとう。
Happy New Year, Korona. Korona was full of energy in the new year.
あれ、姫ちゃんと吉岡さんもいるんだ。明けましておめでとうございます。明けましておめでとう、コロナさん。明けましておめでとうございます。姫ちゃんたちも初詣帰り？おみくじどうだった？もちろん大吉ですわ。その前に2回ほど今日を引いてますけどね。
So you pulled again?
おみくじで今日を引いたままでは帰れませんわ。あそこの神社今日が多いって話だしね。ちなみにコロナは中吉でした。
It seemed Korona went to the shrine too.
コロナさんはお一人で？ひなみんと一緒だったよ。あ、ひなみんっていうのはコロナの友達の子でね。先日の観測会にも来ていた子ですね。ああ、
Orihime seemed to remember her as well. I only saw her from a distance. I didn't know her well enough to use the nickname Hinneman. So what about this, Hinneman? Did she go home already?
ひなみんはそのままバスに乗ってったから。
Korona was the only one who got off the bus here. But why did she get off here? The house was closer to Hoshina Station.
空見くん、せっかくだから皆さんに部屋を見せてあげたらどうだい？
Damn, we were talking a little bit too much. There were no customers right now, so it wasn't a problem, but we would be getting in the way of the store if we stayed here. I'm sorry we're being so loud.
申し訳ありませんでした。私たちはすぐに帰りますから、お気遣いなく。
いいのいいの、そういうんじゃないんだから。ほら、空見くんもご案内して。
Oh, I got it. It seemed she was the one being polite. Without delay, I brought the three of them to my room on the second floor.
やったー、一番乗り。
As I opened the door, Korona slipped in before me.
ここが空見くんの部屋ですか。引っ越ししたばかりにしては綺麗に片付いてますね。
She must have expected a mountain of boxes. The girls looked around my room with interest.
おこた入っていい？ねえねえ。
Of course, that's the only eater I have. The wooden house was bitingly cold in the winter. Even though it was inside, it was cold enough to make people hesitate to take off their coats.
サブサブ。
Korona got under the kotatsu and switched it on.
会長、私たちは。
They knew me, but it was a boys' room. Hanuka and Orihime were asking with a mix of manners and apprehension.
立ち話もなんだし、こたつに入らせてもらいましょう。
Sorry, it's all I have.
いいのよ、別に。着物じゃなくてよかったわ。
The kotatsu would be impossible in a kimono. Considering that, it was actually lucky for me.
では、失礼しますわね。
She took off her coat and slowly slid her legs under the blanket. Hanuka did just as Orihime did.
室温が低いから余計に暖かく感じますね。これはこたつ。
They each had their own reaction. But I couldn't let Orihime's pass. Is this your first kotatsu, Orihime?
ええ、実は初体験なの。
She admitted with embarrassment.
姫ちゃんのお家おこたないの？私の家は洋風なので。会長のお宅はすごいんですよ。おしゃれな洋館って感じで。広くてもいいことないわよ。お掃除が大変ってお母様がいつもぼやいているわ。お掃除大変になるくらい広いんだ。
The Kusakabe house was supposed to be pretty big, but Orihime's must have been even bigger. I didn't have anything for my guests to drink, so I went down to buy some from the store.
明けおめ。
Miss Maharu was standing at the counter. She must have taken over the store.
なになに黙っちゃって。そこはことよろって返すとこでしょうが。
Happy New Year, Miss Maharu. I hope you have a good one. In the face of her frankness, I gave a proper New Year's greeting.
何よ、ニートの相手なんてできるかみたいなその態度は。
It's not that. I was just thinking I should at least start the year right. I don't know how Miss Maharu felt, but I thought she still deserved respect.
それより母さんから聞いたわよ。新年早々、部屋に彼女を連れ込んでるんだって。
No, it's not my girlfriend.
じゃあ何なのよ。先生に教えてみなさい。
Now she brought up the teacher card. They're members of the Six Stars Club. Korona's there too.
美少女が3人も揃ってるそうじゃない。ねえねえ、あんたはどの子狙いなのよ。
I'm not going for any of them.
あんたはそのつもりかもしれないけどね。肝心の女の子の方はどうかしら。一人暮らしの男の部屋に来るってことはある程度期待してるんじゃない？
There's no way. Could there really be 3 girls in my room all waiting for me? If that happened, who should I choose?
ま、実際のところはあんたがいない隙にエロ本を物色されるくらいが関の山だろうけどね。
Nani? That wasn't likely, or was it? What would I do if Hanuka said something like, This girl looks like Orihime or something like that. I'm going back. I'll pay for this later. Tadaima! And everything seemed fine. After looking around the room quickly, I set the plastic bottles I brought on the kotatsu.
おかえりなさい、空見くん。早かったのね。お金はこれでいいですか？
Arigato, thanks. I took the money for the drinks from Hanukkah and got under the kotatsu. But a slightly awkward atmosphere made me uneasy. Did something happen?
何もありませんわ。
She denied it immediately. Something was off. Korona?
姫ちゃんに言うなって言われてて。
Something did happen. This is my room, so that's a little scary.
何もしていませんわ。部屋を物色するような真似は一切していないから安心して。
Then what is it?
ちょっとね、その胸を触られてしまったの、コロナさんに。だって姫ちゃんのおっぱい大きいんだもん。
I can see why you're interested, but you have to be careful who you do that to. If she was going to do that, she should have done it to Hickory. She probably let Korona off with just a karate chop.
気になるんですね。
Crap, I said too much. No, I mean, yours are very nice, Orihime, but...
あきにそれ墓穴掘ってるよ。そういうのは困りますわ。
She hid her breast shyly. But in doing that, she just made her chest stand out even more.
会長、あまり意識しない方が。そうね。このことは一旦忘れてお願いだから。
She grabbed one of her drinks to change the subject. Everyone drank in silence.
そうそう。空見くんにお伝えすることがあったのでは？そうね。ありがとう、吉岡。急いで伝えることではないのだけれど、せっかくだからと思って。
Orihime got out from under the kotatsu and fixed her posture.
私、白鳥織姫は、すでに明光学院天文部を引退しています。ですが、実質的には引退せず、この吉岡を導いてきました。ですが、それもいつまでもというわけには参りません。そこで、年が変わるのを機に、天文部をすべて任せることにしたの。改めまして、大下駄の吉岡ほのかです。今後ともよろしくお願いします。
I look forward to working with you, Hanukkah.
吉岡さんってほのかって名前だったんだ。
Korona's attention was on something else.
よろしく、ほのほの。ほのほの？ほのかって名前なんでしょ？だから、ほのほの。これまでは普通に名字で呼ばれていたはずですが。だってほのほのの下の名前知らなかったから。これで今度からちゃんと呼んであげられるね。よかったわね、ほのほの。こいつ冗談よ、吉岡。でも、この相性はなかなかいいと思うけれど。会長がそうおっしゃるのでしたら。
Hanukkah seemed reluctant, but in the end, the nickname Honohana was pushed through.
さて、要件も済んだことですし、私たちはそろそろおいとましましょう。もう帰っちゃうの？ごめんなさいね。でも先ほどお父様から連絡があったの。もうすぐ三日月駅に到着するって。
I'm sorry I wasn't very hospitable.
こちらこそ突然お邪魔してごめんなさい。こたつ初めての経験でしたけど最高でしたわ。おこたは人を堕落させちゃう魔力を秘めてるからね。確かにこれは危険ですわね。ずっとこうしてくつろいでいたくなってしまうもの。
Come to my kotatsu anytime you like. I'll keep it warm for you.
星の巡り合わせが良ければそうさせていただくわ。
Her father texted from the car right after that. I went outside with them to see them off.
本日はありがとうございました。
No, thank you. I had fun.
またむつら星の会合でお会いしましょう。コロナさんはご自宅まで送って差し上げても構いませんのに。
Looks like she's staying for a while.
そう。お正月とはいえ、あまり遅くならないように注意してあげてくださいね。それと。
It must have been hard to say. She brought her lips close to my ear.
彼女の可憐な一輪の花なのですから、二人きりだからといってそういうような真似はしないように。
She warned me in a whisper. I know that.
よろしく頼むわね。
It was concerning for different reasons. When her breath hit my ear, I jumped unexpectedly.
それでは空見くん、おやすみなさい。夢の中でも星空に包まれていますように。
With that, Orihime left. If she does that, I could end up dreaming of something else.
あきみ、おかえり。
Wait, why are you here?
コロナと二人きりにさせちゃ危ないでしょ。だから監視しに来たの。それよりお餅食べよう。みはるちゃんが持ってきてくれたんだよ。
You could see grilled mookie and seaweed on top of the table.
差し入れ。っていうか、夜食に付き合いなさい。
Eating mookie late at night will make you fat.
そうなの？大丈夫、大丈夫。焼きたての餅はうまいわよ。
She just wanted somebody to join her. All right then, don't mind if I do. I filled my mouth with hot mookie. Mookie's good. It was frighteningly tasty.
きなこ餅はないの？下のコンビニに行けばきなこも売ってると思うけど。みはるちゃん、買ってきて。いやよ、今母さんが店番してるんだから。
If she went to the register with Konako power, then her mother would know that she was eating that mookie. Don't tell me that you stole this mookie from the kitchen.
何よ、くすねたなんて人聞きの悪い。早乙女家のものはすべて私のものよ。
Uh-oh, she was getting defensive. Korona, do not grow up to be like her, okay?
うん、ニートはやだもん。悪かったわね。ニートで。いいわよ。あんたらに食べさせる餅なんてないんだから。
An angry Miss Miharu tucked the mookie with both of her hands and shoved it all in her mouth. This was bad. She could even die if this went really badly.
あ、みはるちゃんが。
Drink some tea right now.
ペットボトルが空だよ。
Hit her on the back as hard as you can.
チャッチャッチャッ。
Korona delivered blows to the back, but of the neck, just like Hikari would normally hit Korona. Each time she hit Miss Miharu's neck bent a little more.
あんた、人の首に何してくれちゃってんの。ヘルニアになったらどうするわけ？
It's better than dying, though.
みはるちゃん復活した。よかったよ。ありがとう。助かったわ。
Seeing Korona's good intentions, Miss Miharu's mood quickly cooled, and she even looked a little thankful.
それにしても、この部屋がこんなになっちゃうとはね。
What was it like before?
うちがコンビニになってからはずっと物置として使ってたわね。
This used to be a small candy shop until several years ago when it was renovated to the shop and buy. Back then, the whole building had undergone large-scale renovations, but this room hadn't been used much except for storage.
懐かしい感じの匂いがするよね。
Korona was sniffing around with great interest. Was the Kasukui home like this before it had been sunk in the dam? It smelled of old household items in tatami, and on top of that was the overwhelming smell of maki.
あんたがそうやってると女の子の匂い嗅いでるみたいだから食べなさい。
What?
そういや姫ちゃんたちいい匂いしてたよね。
She didn't even try to deny it. I didn't notice it when I was with them, but when I had returned from the convenience store, it was obvious. Maybe because it was so small, but my room was filled with the smell of girls. But the smell of mochi is masking it. It was kind of a downer. Saya smelled good, but this was a different kind of smell, fragrance that made you aware of their femininity. Men are weak to that smell.
あれでしょ、名工のお嬢さんたちそういうこと気にしてんのにね。
コロナも気にした方がいい？
あんたにはまだ早い。
Korona seemed disappointed by that. Adult women will go over the top when they want to be noticed. Miss Maharu's words seemed to have had the opposite effect on Korona.
姫ちゃんのいい匂いシャンプーかな？それとも香水？
Don't ask me.
じゃあ今度会ったら直接聞いてみようっと。
I can't imagine Korona acting like Orihime, but it wouldn't matter what I said now anyway. For a while after that, we ate mochi and talked for a bit.
そういやコロナ、あんた今年受験だっけ？
ピッカピカの受験生なのです。
It's good to be enthusiastic, but I wouldn't go so far as to call them glorified.
受験勉強ちゃんと進んでんの？1月は追い込みの時期でしょうに。
Miss Maharu was giving advice.
うっさい。私だってたまにはいいことくらい言うし。
I laughed inside when she said from time to time.
ね、どこ狙ってんの？あんたバカっぽいから苦労するでしょう。
コロナバカじゃないもん。それでも結構成績はいいんだよ。
I had heard that too. She had top grades and her parents were sure looked after her. I had heard that sometimes she wasn't even allowed to hang out with her friends because her parents were so strict.
成績って偏差値どのくらいよ？
この前のテストだと5教科で70だったかな。
は？70って本当に？平均点の間違いじゃないの？
偏差値だよ。平均点は96点だったかな。
You would need to be some kind of genius to get 96. If you rounded up, that would be 100%. What rank are you in school?
いつもだいたい3番以内だよ。前回は2番だったけど、その前は1番だったんだから。
何この子、実はすごい子だったんじゃない？
Miss Maharu was dumbfounded too. The unemployed Miss Maharu just realized that she shouldn't be making fun of Korona, and she quietly gave the last mochi to Korona.
いいの？
最後のこいつを食べる資格があるのはあんただけよ。
I totally agree. I wouldn't say that I had good grades. The only other person I knew that had a standardized score of 70 was Saya. To be on the same level as Saya was quite impressive.
じゃあ遠慮なくいただきます。ちょっと硬くなりかけてる。
She said that while looking quite happy eating the last one. I couldn't imagine that someone who looked like his dad had a standardized score of 70.
70もあったら進路だってよりどりみどりじゃない。
She could get into any of the 6 schools in Hoshinonaka. Weren't you thinking about going to Hoshino Daiichi?
アキ兄と同じとこ行きたいなって。コロナはそう思ってたんだけどね。
Her face looked grim.
星野第一なんてもったいない。その成績ならもっといいとこ狙えるでしょう。
お母さんや先生も同じこと言ってた。星の中市内なら名校か聖戦にしなさいって。
その2校なら妥当なところね。
It was rare for Miss Miharu to give advice like an actual adult. However, Korona went stiff as Mr. Miharu's words. What do you think about it, Korona?
そのどっちかなら名校かな。聖戦には天の川鞘がいるし。
Korona must really have disliked Saya.
名工なら姫ちゃんもいるし、楽しくなりそうだなって。
Orihime is a senior this year, so she'll graduate soon. Looks like she forgot. It wasn't possible for Korona and Orihime to go to school together.
姫ちゃんはいなくてもほのぼのがいるし、とにかく天の川さやが先輩になるなんて論外だよ。聖戦だけは絶対入りたくない。
Korona wasn't joking around. For as long as I'd known her, she was hostile to Saya. Why do you detest her so much?
だって
She puffed her cheeks like she was put off by the question.
そのくらいにしてやんなさい。女の子には言いたくないことだってあるんだから。
みはるち
She looked at Miss Mahara like she was some kind of messiah. Did she really not want to talk about Saya much?
となると、コロナの志望校は名校ってことね。見学はもうした？
ゃん。してない。
なら、一度しておくといいわよ。どんな校風なのか、どういう設備があるのか、知っておいた方がモチベーションにもつながるだろうし。
みはるちゃんが珍しくまともなこと言ってる。
うっさい。珍しくて悪かったわね。
The mood was ruined because we ridiculed her, but when she was being serious. I think Miss Mahara is right. Why don't you go and check out the school?
でもちょっと怖いっていうか、名工ってお嬢様だらけなんでしょ。コロナみたいな田舎者は気遅れしちゃうよ。
I don't remember there being anyone like that in Orihime's class. I could understand Korona's predicament.
ねえ、アキに連れてって。
Can I go with you?
それなら怖くないと思うし。
Okay then. If it helps, I'll go.
ありがとう、アキに。
I would talk with Orihime after the winter vacation ended. I was sure that she'd be glad to give us a tour. After Korona went home safely, I went back to my job. I worked a special night shift until I finally got to sleep early in the morning. I ended up sleeping like a log until the afternoon. Just like everyone in the Sayatomi family, in the afternoon we filled ourselves on New Year's food. It had been a long time since I had been able to eat things like oseki and ozoni. The next day I spent watching New Year's TV with Miss Maharu. Then there was that problematic third day. I had aimed for a time when things would be calm to go visit my relatives. In the end, I just showed my face and let them know that I was what was new. I didn't want to bother them any more than that, so I just had gone home early for the day. Hickory said carefree after hearing my story. Yeah, I guess you're right. I could have continued, but I decided to leave it at that. It was best to be as reserved as possible when it came to relatives. That was the one lesson I had learned from experience.
それよりさ、遅れちゃった明けおめ、アキト。
This was the first time this year I met Hickory.
よーしよしよし、コタちゃんはいい子だね。
Saya was caressing Kotaru's fur outside the convenience store.
さや、そろそろいいかな。
Sorry for the wait. They had been waiting around for my shift to end.
アキトの部屋で待っててもよかったんだけどね。
Like I would ever let some snoops into my room without me.
せめてさやだけでも入れてあげたらよかったのに。
I guess if it had been Saya, it would have been okay.
光を差し置いて、アキト君のお部屋に入るなんてできないよ。けなげな子だよ、まったく。
Saya had been hanging out with Hickory ever since the Christmas Eve meetup. She wanted to spend as much time as possible with her friend who would be going abroad soon.
そうだ、アキト君。メッセージではご挨拶したけど、改めまして。明けまして、おめでとうございます。
Today was also the first day to see Saya this year. It sounded to me like the translations were off at the end of that scene there, but oh well. The peak of the quadrantid meteor shower was today, January 4th. The peak time of a meteor shower was when you could observe the most falling stars. We were meeting up for the first time this year to watch the meteor shower. We had made our way up to the old train car. We put a tarp on the roof and lay down, searching for falling stars.
ちょっと狭いね。
It was a diesel car, so we didn't have a pantograph, but the roof wasn't flat and had several coolers on it. So there wasn't much room to spare. We took care not to fall over the edge, so we absolutely had to keep close. Why am I in the middle? Hickory and Saya were on either side of me.
万が一落ちそうになった時、しがみつけるようにね。そうだね。
Saya agreed without hesitation, but under the blanket she clung closely to me. It wasn't like you could see through the blanket we were using, but it must have been evident that we were huddling close together.
うわーお。さやってば大胆。
I wasn't sure if Hickory was joking with her or was just teasing. But Saya was used to it and she just let it slide.
光ももっとアツト君にくっつかないと危ないよ。いいって私は。これくらいでちょうどいいから。
We were close enough that our shoulders were touching under the blanket. It was a bit tight, and it felt like I was getting sandwiched between them.
四分ギザ流星群の輻射点ってどの辺だっけ？
I think it's in between Boots and Draco constellations.
アプリで調べてみるね。
Saya used an app on her phone to look up the radiant. The radiant point was where the meteors appear to originate from in the sky, so if you looked in that direction, it might be easier to see them.
輻射点はあっちだよ。
She pointed in the direction indicated by her phone.
ありがとね、さや。どういたしまして。
Listen to you two talk to each other while I'm just stuck here.
あら、羨ましくなっちゃった。安心して。アキト君を仲間外れになんてしないから。
I know that. Like I could ever be excluded while I was being sandwiched between them.
あ、今流れた。どこどこ？
Don't panic, you'll see another one soon.
そうそう。夜は始まったばかりなんだから。
The three of us used to stargaze a lot together. Nothing had really changed since then. We hadn't really talked about it, but I was sure that we were all thinking about that. However, when Hickory tried to pull away again, both Saya and I felt a real sense of panic.
また3人で星を見ようね。
I could hear Saya mutter that as she looked for shooting stars. I was sure that Hickory heard it on my other side. Hickory didn't even reply.
じゃあね。
A few days later, Hickory left and disappeared. There wasn't even a teary farewell, like it wasn't all that important.
光らしいね。
It looked like Saya was just trying to accept the fact.
光行っちゃったね。
Saya said to nobody in particular as she was tending to Kotaru. Are you sad?
寂しくないって言ったら嘘になると思う。せっかくまた会えたのに。
Saya had always been with Hickory, as if she was trying to make up for missing time. It wouldn't be wrong to say that she joined the Six Stars Club because Hickory was there. What are you going to do? I asked without bringing up the subject. After the first light for Pleiades 1, my feelings had changed. At first I had been planning on quitting both astronomy and the Six Stars Club, but now I wasn't so sure. But Saya... Would she stay in the club after Hickory's gone?
アキト君が何を言いたいのか私にはわかんないよ。
Soka. I replied quietly, like I didn't really hear her. Maybe I was even a little scared of what she might say.
結局光には部屋を見せてあげたの？
Nope. In the end, Hickory didn't visit my new place. She had been trying really hard for some reason, but I hadn't let her up.
光見たがってたのに。
I guess I was just worried she was going to mess it up or something. I knew it was just an excuse.
光はそんなことしないよ。
I wanted to say that she would do that, but I couldn't bring myself to say that to Saya's face. What about you, Saya? Do you want to see my room?
いい。光を差し置いて、そんなことできないよ。
I see. It's not like I don't know how you feel, but I don't think you need to read too much into it. Hickory would probably have laughed it off if she knew Saya was worried about it. Aren't you cold outside?
コタちゃんぬくぬくだもん。
Saya was warming up by Kotaro, but surely that could only do so much. Well, I gotta get to work now.
頑張ってね。私も適当なところで帰るから。
In the end, Saya didn't even want to see my room. They're really setting this one up to be either Orihime or Korona. Really, I mean, strongly, right? Winter vacation had come to an end at the end, and the third term was officially underway. Korona had asked me to see if Orihime would be willing to give her a tour of Maiku Academy. Orihime, of course, said she would. Since I was the one who set it up, I had come along with Korona to the school.
うち、お金大丈夫かな。
That was the first thing she had to say. I was pretty sure this wasn't her first time seeing the school. Your family seems pretty well off to me.
お金持ちってわけじゃないよ。娘にジャブジャブ使えるほどはないと思う。
The school building looming up in the front of us did give the impression that it had cost quite a bit of money.
お母さんとお父さん、無理してないという。
I don't think they would have told you to go here if they couldn't afford it. If it's something they want, you shouldn't worry about it. There are always scholarships, too. If you're really worried about money, you should try for one of those.
なるほど。優秀ならお金もなんとかなるんだね。コロナ勉強得意だし、頑張るぞ。
She sure sounded confident about herself. Maybe Korona was a better student than I had imagined her to be. As we entered the building, Korona's exclamations of wonder grew.
秋に、何ここすごい。
We were standing in the atrium made of glass that really made it clear that this was a private school. I understand how you feel, but you should try to keep your voice down. Korona attempted to match the composed mood of those around her by adopting a more refined attitude. She tried to walk more gracefully, but she just ended up looking more awkward than ever.
これは息が詰まる。
You're trying too hard.
でも来年コロナが入るかもしれないから今のうちからやっておかないと。
She was treating this as a rehearsal, huh? I set this up as a casual hour, but Korona seemed to be taking this visit very seriously indeed. She soon decided that she couldn't mimic everyone's graceful walking style in such a short period of time, and started walking as silently as she could.
それより秋にコロナたち今どこに向かってるの？
Korona was now speaking softly to match her silent footfalls. I smiled at the way she was acting as I answered her question. I was taking you to the astronomy club to find Orihime first. She should be the one who's going to show you around.
了解。
Korona would be more or less at ease if Orihime was with us. I stole a sidelong glance at Korona. She looked overawed by the grandeur that was Maiku Academy. I had a pretty good feeling about this trip. Astronomy Club. A nameplate hung on the door. Excuse us.
失礼します。中真っ暗だよ。
Watch your step. Here, give me your hand.
うん。
Korona was clearly uneasy at the thought of entering a dark room. This was my second time, though, so I knew what to expect. I was actually surprised they were doing this again.
そろそろ来る頃だと思っていました。プレアデス7姉妹の長子マイヤ、そして末の妹メローペ。
A single lamp lit up. The only thing visible in the gloom was a dark silhouette. The figure was wearing a hood. I couldn't make out the face, but I was sure it would be the same as the first time I'd been here.
星の巡り合わせが我々をつないでくれました。ことほぎましょう、出会いを。プレアデスの姉妹に祝福を。
なんだか難しそうなこと言ってるけど、なんだろう、ワクワクするね。
北の星来たるとき、六つら星一同に返す。そして黄金の時は始まりを迎えるのです。ご覧なさい、運命の車輪を。
運命の車輪っていうか、暗すぎて見たくても見えないよ。
The figure was holding up a card, but it was too dark to see anything more than the shape. There were fewer lamps than last time, making the room much darker.
もう明かりつけるね。出ないと顔も見えないもん。待ってください。
The shriek was too late. Light flooded the room, obliterating the darkness.
あれ？ふぬふぬ？
I had thought it was Orihime, but apparently it turned out to be Hanukkah instead.
ようこそ、お二人とも。明光学院天文部部長、吉岡ほのかが歓迎いたします。
Orihime was there too. She had apparently been watching the entire thing play out from the corner of the room.
吉岡？どうして辞めてしまったの？私にはこんなの無理です。明光学院天文部の伝統なのに。
今のが伝統なの？
会長が勝手に決めた伝統です。
That made sense. I found it hard to believe that this had been going on for a long time.
タロットカードもまだ本領発揮していませんのに。もう普通にしましょう。そもそもお二人とは顔見知りなのですから。
It looked like Hanukkah was only doing this because Orihime had forced her into it. She's gone along with it for a while, but it looked like this was as much as she could take.
もういいわ。じゃあ吉岡、続きをお願い。かしこまりました。
She stiffened her posture and turned back to face Korona and me.
日下部コロナさん、今回は明光学院の見学を希望されるということでよろしいですか？
はい。
明光学院天文部部長、大下駄の吉岡ほのかはあなたを心より歓迎いたします。どうぞこちらにご案内しますので。
Hanukkah grabbed Korona's hand and started to lead her out of the room.
ちょっと待って。アキ兄は一緒じゃないの？
案内の許可を取れたのは入学希望者のあなただけですので。ごめんなさいね。いろいろ堅苦しい学校で。
I'd been in the school a few times on business with the astronomy club, but it looked like I wasn't going to be allowed to just wander around. Korona was going to be applying to the school, so she had a reason, but they weren't about to let a boy from another school just tag along.
コロナさんが吉岡に案内してもらっている間、彼にはこちらで待機していただくわ。
Are you going to be alright without me?
平気だよ。コロナだってもう子供じゃないんだし。
She was clearly acting braver than she was feeling. Still, I wanted to respect her efforts.
なら結構ね。吉岡、あとはお願い。かしこまりました。では参りましょう。コロナさん。
じゃあ行ってくるね。
Korona followed Hanukkah out of the room and around the corner. I was left behind with Orihime.
せっかく準備したのに。
Orihime grumbled to herself as she picked up the tarot cards on the table.
コロナさんなら絶対喜んでくれると思ったのよ。ねえ、空見くんもそう思わない？
You're asking me? I was thrown off a little at the sudden question. Even though we were only two people in the room, she somehow ended up getting really close before speaking. You're kind of close.
あら、失礼。つい興奮してしまったわ。
It didn't even seem to faze her as she backed away and gave me some space.
それで、あなたはどう思う？
Yeah, I agree. I think Korona would have enjoyed your performance. But why did you have Hanukkah take over your role? I feel a little bad for her. That was the bigger problem. Orihime loved all the theatrics, but Hanukkah wasn't, well, very suited to them.
やはり吉岡には荷が重かったかしら。
Everyone has things they're good at and others that they aren't. She shouldn't have to be forced to participate in some random club tradition. And yet she never seemed to complain about it. Orihime, what kind of astronomy club head are you looking for?
そうね。以前は天文部の存続だけを考えていたわ。でも今はもっと先を求めていると思うわ。
You mean like expanding the Six Stars Club? Or do you mean even beyond that?
人の望みは果てしなく高みへと登っていくものなのね。
Orihime walked over to the celestial globe in the center of the room. She looked down at it and let out a sigh.
コロナさんは名工学院に入ってくれるかしら。
Orihime looked up at me with an almost desperate expression.
彼女が見学を希望してくれたと聞いて胸が躍ったのよ。もし彼女が入ってくれたら吉岡に後輩ができる。あの子は一人にならずに済む。そんなこちらの事情、コロナさんには関係のない話なのにね。
Orihime apparently had her own reasons for hoping that Korona would come here. It also seemed to be making her feel a little guilty. Korona isn't going to feel obligated to come here because of that. She's going to decide which school she goes to on her own. What club she joins will also be her own choice. She'll also be the one to decide how she's going to respond to your soliciting as well.
それもそうね。私は彼女を見くびっていたのかもしれません。流されてどうにかなるような子ではないものね。
Orihime's expression finally returned to normal.
名工学院のいいところをアピールしても問題ないかしら。それと天文についても彼女にもっともっと星を好きになってもらいたいわ。
I think that would be great. I had no idea how Korona would feel about it, but there was nothing wrong with wanting to introduce others to things you were passionate about. Orihime always got this glint in her eyes when she was talking about the stars and the legends behind them. It was enchanting.
では早速準備ね。空見くん、申し訳ないけれど手伝ってくれる？
Not at all. I'd be happy to see Korona take an interest in the stars too. That settled, Orihime and I got to work. It seemed like Orihime had planned on doing this even before our talk, because most of the preparations were already done.
コロナさんが校内見学を終えた後、天文部についてじっくり説明しようと思っていたの。衣装はこれよ。吉岡に着てもらうつもりだったのだけれど。空見くんでも似合いそうね。よかったわ。
For some reason, I was getting a bad feeling about this. Isn't that...
サイズに余裕はあると思うから心配は無用よ。
That's not the problem. Isn't that for a girl? I couldn't tell exactly what it was, but it looked an awful lot like a skirt.
大丈夫。空見くんは綺麗なお顔してるもの。きっとよく似合うわ。
How is that supposed to be comforting?
5章ですから。お願い。プレアデスの姉妹は女の子でないとダメなのよ。
I guess that meant it was Maya's outfit. No, Orihime said she was going to have Hanukkah wear it. That would mean it was Tayagetta's. Whatever. I couldn't tell the difference between Taigeta and Maya's outfits anyways. Why don't you ask Hanukkah to do this?
吉岡の反応を見たでしょ。こういうの得意ではないと思うの。
Neither am I. In fact, I'm really bad at it.
でも空見くんなら何とかしてくれると信じているわ。むつら星の会に希望を取り戻してくれたように、名工学院の天文部にも新たな光を灯してくれるはず。
Orihime placed a tarot card in front of me. It was the star card, and it was in the upright position.
どうかしら。
Did you just pick that one out of the deck?
運命とは自分の力で選び取るものよ。妖精プレイオーネの娘マイヤよ。あなたの運命はこの私が見つけて差し上げましょう。 迷える末娘メローペをいざないなさい。星々はきっとあなた方姉妹を祝福してくれることでしょう。
She flipped over the star card. I could no longer see the fate that Orihime had chosen.
さて、あなたはどうする？
She was certainly putting on an air of confidence, but I kept catching glimpses of doubt. I guess she felt guilty for trying to coerce me to go along with her, so she was trying to cover it up with theatrics. Just this once. After seeing how anxious she was about today, I couldn't bring myself to say no.
空見くん、ありがとう。あなた以上にマイヤにふさわしい人はいませんわ。
She looked overjoyed as she took my hands in hers. Orihime's hands were faintly moist from her excitement, making them warm to the touch. They were also very soft.
ならば、より完璧なマイヤにする必要がありますわね。
She squeezed my hands together as if to make sure that I wouldn't try and escape.
お肌も綺麗ね。お化粧のノリもさぞかしいいことでしょう。
Makeup!
安心して、すべてを私に任せて。決して悪いようにはしませんわ。
Somehow I had my doubts. I was quickly beginning to regret my decision.
急ぐわよ、マイヤ。のんびりしていると二人が戻ってきてしまいますわ。
Well, hold on a minute. Before I knew what was happening, Orihime had began unbuttoning my shirt. She was really good at it, too. It happened so fast I didn't even get a good chance to see how she had done it.
さあさあ、衣装はこれよ、マイヤ。
Stop calling me Maya already. I'm beat. Our little play, The Pallades Maidens, directed by Orihime Shiratori and starring Akito Surami, had finally come to an end.
あきに、さっきから携帯じゃんじゃん鳴ってるよ。
I know, I'm ignoring it. My forced cross-dressing had become unexpectedly popular. Orihime had apparently taken pictures and decided it would be okay to post them to our Six Stars Club group chat. The explosion of messages was only to be expected.
あきにって美人だったんだね。
Korona was looking at the picture of me in the dress and sighing. Can't you leave it alone already? I don't know if it was Orihime's skill at applying makeup or what, but I didn't even recognize myself when I looked at the mirror. It was so good that I probably could have been mistaken for a girl at the right lighting.
美人なのはいいことだと思うのにな。
Nothing if you're a girl. I'm a guy. I don't know if it's because I was ignoring the messages, but my phone wouldn't stop going off. I had it set to vibrate, and it was almost constantly shaking in my pocket.
もう、あきにが返事しないからこっちに来てるよ。
Korona turned her brand new phone around to show me the screen. The chat log in the app we were using was ridiculously long. Fine, I'll look at it. The Six Stars Club had a group chat set up. I opened it and was met with a huge number of unread messages.
今の何？上層？超ウケる。アキト何やってんの？アキトくん？アキトくんだよね。一体何があったの？面白そうなことをしてるね。もちろん動画は撮ってるんだろ？もちろん動画もありますわ。とても素晴らしいマイヤのお姿でした。
After that, Orihime uploaded a video which only added fuel to the fire. She really never thinks about the consequences of her actions, does she? And when had she even taken that video? If I had known, there was no way I would have left before making her delete it.
どうするの？
I'll just pretend I didn't see anything. There was nothing I could do about it at this point. Things had already gone beyond my control. It wasn't really a solution, but I switched my notifications off and continued on my way home.
今日はありがとね、あきに。
The bus was rocking back and forth a little as Korona thanked me again. What did you think of the school?
いいとこだと思う。ほのほのもいっぱい説明してくれて勉強になったよ。
It appears that Hanukkah had performed her duties well.
名工は設備がしっかりしてるみたい。学食もおしゃれで美味しかったし。日替わり定食を頼んだら ナイフとフォークが出てくるとは思わなかったよ。
Maiku Academy was even fancier than I'd thought. Lunch is an important part of learning, after all. My school's not bad, but it doesn't come anywhere near the level of Maiku. Maiku Academy's lunchroom looked more like a dining hall than a cafeteria. They had a large menu that rivaled most restaurants and had a reputation for tasting great, too.
名校は学費高いって聞いてるけど、ちゃんと反映されてるなってのが分かったよ。あそこだったら楽しい3年間を過ごせるかも。コロナ気に入っちゃった。まだ将来の夢とかよく分かんないから、名校に入るのが正しいのか分かんないけど。
If that's the case, wouldn't going to some place like Maiku be even better for you?
どういうこと？
Going to a high-level school like Maiku Academy will only increase your profile choices for the future. It's important to do whatever you can now to make it easier to follow the path you'd like to when you eventually do decide. I think Maiku Academy is the kind of place that would be able to help you no matter what you decide to do. In my case, I had too much going on at the time to really think about my future goals. The only thing I had focused on was becoming independent as fast as I possibly could. That just made me want Korona and the other underclassmen to find their dreams even more. And if there was a place that I could help them realize those dreams, I wanted them to go without hesitation. So about the astronomy club. If you aren't interested in joining, you don't have to feel obligated to.
なんで？どうしたの急に？
I'm just saying, I figured you might feel bad about saying no if you didn't really feel like joining. Anybody might at least feel a little pressured into joining after a welcome like the one she just had. I would love for her to use it to take an interest in astronomy, but I didn't want her to join unless she really wanted to. Orihime would probably get mad at me for saying this to you, but I think it's important. Her main priority at the moment was finding more members at any cost. Knowing the situation her school's club was in, I couldn't really blame her. My school's club head had done just about the same thing. You still have plenty of time to think about it before you have to decide in the spring.
あ、君。
Being passionate about the stars and inviting her to join were completely fine. But the decision was Korona's to make. I didn't want her to rush her decision or end up regretting it.
分かった。すぐ決めちゃう必要はないしね。姫ちゃんのお話は面白いけど、コロナがついていけるのかなって不安はあったし。あの夜、アキニーと星を見て綺麗だなって思ったのは本当だよ。あの件もね、まだちょっと怖いんだ。コロナは星のことあんまりよく知らないから。
Would it really be the right decision for her to join the astronomy club and devote her 3 years at Maiku to them? Some people yearn to discover more about things they do not know. Though that passion may also subside over time as they learn more. I wanted to say that wouldn't happen with Korona, but everyone was different. Forcing her to make a decision now would be unreasonable.
だからね、アキニ。また今度コロナの相談に乗ってくれる？天文部のことだけじゃなくて、受験のこととかいろいろ聞いてほしいなって。
I guess it was hard for her to discuss these types of things with her parents, Takeichi. That being said, we weren't even in the same year. Was I really the best person for her to be talking to? Of course, anytime.
じゃあ次の日曜とかどうかな？アキニは時間空いてる？
I might have to work that day. I'm not sure. I'll check and I'll let you know.
分かった。じゃあお返事待ってるからね。
Korona got off the bus to head home. I stayed on until it reached Mikuzaki Station. It was already dark out by the time I got there. It was later than I had realized.
やっと帰ってきた。待ってたよ、アキト。
I'm sorry for being so late.
あんたが戻ってこないと店番抜けさせてもらえないからね。ってことで、はい、あとはよろしく。
Miss Miharu took off her apron, thrust it into my arms, and took off into the back of the house.
まったくあの子は。
The manager muttered under her breath from where she'd been stocking the shelves.
いつもすまないね、うちの娘が。
That's all right, I'm used to it.
空見くんもたまにはわがまま言ってもいいんだよ。 いつも頑張ってくれてほんと助かるけど、息抜きも大切なんだから。
I probably looked like I had fantastic behavior when compared to Miss Miharu. I thought I was already stretching my luck, but apparently my manager didn't think so. Oh, I have a question. Do you remember if I'm scheduled to work next Sunday?
日曜は今のところ朝と夜に入ってもらう予定だね。
That meant my afternoon would be free. It looked like I would have time to talk with Korona. Crap, I left my notifications off. My shift had ended and I was looking at my phone in my room. I had a huge pile of unread messages in the chat app. I forgot I'd put it on silent to ignore all the messages about those pictures earlier. I should send a message to Korona before I forget. That's when another message caught my attention.
本日はありがとうございました。非常に有意義な一日になりましたわ。
It was a message from Orihime. She was saying thank you. There was nothing teasing about her message. In fact, she sounded completely sincere. I could even feel her proper upbringing in the words themselves.
コロナさんも我が名工学院を気に入っていただけたようで、私は卒業してしまいますが、彼女の入学が楽しみでなりません。
Even if Korona did end up choosing to go to Maiku, Orihime would be graduating before she started. Despite this, Orihime was still welcoming her to the school as a sort of protege.
ところで、本日のお礼というわけではありませんが、思い出したことがあります。空見くんをプラネタリウムに案内するという約束ですわ。
Well, that's right. I had completely forgotten about that.
次の日曜などご予定はいかがでしょう。お返事お待ちしておりますわ。
This Sunday. I had just been about to tell Korona that I was free to talk with her then. I guess it's good I saw this before I replied, but now I had to make a decision. Which one was I going to say yes to? And you can imagine this is the end of the common route between the two of them. If we choose to go to the planetarium with Orihime, that's who we're going to end up with. If we choose meet with Korona to give her advice, that's who we'll end up with there. So at this point, we are going to be ending this video. As I said, the order in which I'm going to go through the next videos, the characters that we're going to do, is going to be Saya, followed by Korona, followed by Hikari, and finally with Orihime. That is the order that I liked from least to best. As far as the two routes that we've just covered went, I really liked this route better as a whole. The Orihime and Korona joint path was a little more fun, I thought, a little more entertaining than the other one was. However, the best character in the whole thing till now has been Saya, which is kind of funny because I've said, it ended with her kissing Akito, and it's just funny how I'm choosing to do her path first as liking it least, considering how much I thought it was good leading up to this point. That just goes to show that at least where my memory is concerned, I remember that her end story just isn't as entertaining as the others are. So I will speak more to that in that particular route. But as it stands right now, we're going to bring this one to an end right where we're at. So once again, for www.notthetimcurrystudios.com, I am 2AthemR7. Ta-ta.
Nah.
ね